What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, May 24th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 12:50 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. So apparently, Taiwan has put their anti-ship missiles and Patriot missiles on full combat alert today due to the Chinese military doing drills all around the island of Taiwan. And yesterday I reported that there were unconfirmed reports from anonymous sources inside the Chinese military that China plans to attack Taiwan in June. So what you're looking at here is video footage coming out of Taiwan showing one of their Patriot missile batteries on full combat alert. Now, Taiwan has thousands of Patriot missiles, guys, okay? We have been arming Taiwan for decades now, and they have a very sophisticated air defense system. And so now they have placed it on full combat alert. And I want to remind you guys that Vladimir Putin met with Xi Jinping a week ago. And after the meeting with Xi Jinping, these drills take place today and yesterday. And then also, the Russian Foreign Ministry said that the meeting with Putin and Xi Jinping would change the world. And now Putin is in Belarus this weekend, meeting with the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. So it's very possible that we could see an attack on Taiwan by China. And then at the same time, Russia and Belarus, or just Belarus, are going to attack the Baltics and possibly Poland. And then at the same time, Russia may attack Ukraine with this new offensive, and they may go after Kharkiv and try to take the second largest city in Ukraine. This could all happen simultaneously. And I want to remind you guys also that we have a presidential election this fall, and that could be motivation for Xi Jinping and Putin to make their moves now before a possible change in presidents here in the U.S., because we know that Trump scared Putin and Xi Jinping. Okay, they didn't do all these aggressive things when Trump was in power. Now all of a sudden they're doing it because they know that Biden is older and he's a little bit weaker, okay, when it comes to confronting them. So get prepared, guys. This is very, very serious. Reuters is reporting that Vladimir Putin is ready to halt the war in Ukraine with a negotiated ceasefire that recognizes the current battlefield lines, but he is prepared to fight on if Kiev and the West do not respond. Three sources familiar with the discussions in Putin's entourage said, and apparently Putin had expressed frustration to a small group of advisors about what he views as Western-backed attempts to stymie negotiations and Zelensky's decision to rule out talks. And he also said that we must deal with the legitimate leadership of Ukraine and not with Zelensky, whose presidential term has ended in accordance with the law and the Constitution. So very strong words there from Vladimir Putin. So Putin wants to freeze the conflict. He's offering a peace deal, but he's ready to continue to fight on. And I want to remind you guys that Russia has allocated 40% of their national budget to military spending. 40%, guys. That's not what you do if you're just trying to deal with some kind of small contingency. Okay, Russia is preparing for an all-out war with NATO and to conquer eastern Ukraine, the entirety of eastern Ukraine at least, potentially even more. Okay, they're also going to start getting ammunition and weapons from China. Okay, wait until China turns on their factories and starts churning out millions and millions of rounds of ammunition for Russia. Okay, that's going to be a game changer. And because here in the West, we have not gone into a wartime mode like Russia has, they're going to outcompete us with the ammunition production. Okay, Russia is already outcompeting us by themselves. Wait until China starts flooding Russia with millions of rounds of ammo. Okay, here we have some video footage coming out of Taiwan also showing their anti-ship missiles on high alert. Okay, so this is very, very serious. We also had some interesting doomsday plane activity this morning over the U.S. We had a Boeing E-4B Nightwatch presidential doomsday plane do this big loop over the Central Plains early this morning, which is extremely unusual for a doomsday plane to do this early in the morning. And in addition to that, we had a lot of these emergency action messages so far today. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewith.nyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day, all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. That were directed towards tactical units, okay? And I personally believe this is related to the drills going on around Taiwan, okay? Because I was only able to pick this up on West Coast stations, East Coast stations. I could not pick up these emergency action messages. An emergency action message is a nuclear attack option, okay? And so I could only pick these up on West Coast amateur radio stations, not East Coast stations. So that tells me that they're broadcasting to tactical units in the Pacific. So let me just play this for you. So he says 4 fins, 4 fins. And anytime they say for something, they're directing that message to a tactical unit that is most likely a bomber of some kind. Okay, and these are coded messages, alpha numeric messages. We have no idea what they mean. We can hear them, but we don't know what they mean. Okay. You can actually hear this weird noise in the background. That's the STANAG encrypted data that's also going over the wire. So here we have a clip of just the STANAG by itself, and it's very faint, which tells me that the broadcasting station is somewhere deep in the Pacific. So let's listen to this. So that's encrypted data going over the primary nuclear war frequency used by the United States. And right now we have 2 nuclear war command and control planes in the air, one over the Gulf of Mexico, one over Nevada, and very concerning flight paths coming out of the Baltic Sea. We had 2 B-52 nuclear bombers take off from the UK and fly all the way up to the Baltic Sea. And they did a bunch of loops here just off the coast of Sweden near Stockholm. and then they turned around and went back to the UK. So this is actually the first time I've seen them do that. And this comes about a day after Russia pulled off some buoys that they used to mark their border with Estonia on the Narva River in Narva, Estonia. Okay. And interestingly, Narva has a large Russian speaking population. Here's a close up look of these two B 52 nuclear bombers looping in the Baltic Sea near the Gotland Island. Okay, two of them. Very, very serious, guys. Okay, we are on the verge of nuclear war with Russia. And I do believe that there is going to be some kind of massive escalation very, very soon. Like I said, the Baltics, Poland, Ukraine, and Taiwan, and potentially the Gotland Island, which is this Swedish island in the Baltic Sea. Russia could attack it as well. And we had a lot of nuclear war command and control planes in the air yesterday. I think we had like 6 or 7, maybe even more yesterday. We also had a U.S. aerial refueler that was operating off the coast of the Baja California Peninsula in the same area where the FAA issued that NOTAM for Russian missile impacts through the 26th. And they shortly pulled down that NOTAM 2 days after they posted it because they found out that people on social media were posting about it. So they removed the NOTAM and said that it was due to a Russian space rocket that was going to have its booster crash down in this area. Well, if that's the case, why are we sending P-8 Poseidons, sub-hunter planes, and also aerial refuelers to this area basically every day now? Okay, why would you send a sub-hunter plane to this area to investigate a fallen rocket booster? Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. Yesterday I reported a P-8 Poseidon was flying in that area. Okay, here's a closer look. You can see this KC-135 aerial refueler looping right in the area where they said that these Russian missiles were going to land. Okay, so a lot of stuff goes on in the dark. Okay, our government and our military keeps a lot of secrets. For all we know, there could have been 20 Cuban Missile Crisis moments that we'll never know about. And maybe one of those was the culinary night a few weeks back. Okay, here's 3 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air yesterday. And also, we had a lot of reconnaissance over Poland and the Baltics last night. Here we have an Italian AWACS flying in Lithuania. This is their new regular pattern. They fly from Malbork, Poland, which is in northern Poland, and they go to the Lithuanian-Belarus border, and they do all these loops here near Vilnius. And then this Swedish reconnaissance plane doing its usual reconnaissance in eastern Poland. Here's another shot of the Italian AWACS plane doing just dozens and dozens of loops here along the border of Belarus and Lithuania. So Belarus has put entire mechanized brigades here just within a few miles of the Lithuanian border, close to Vilnius. Vilnius, the capital, is only 20 miles from Belarus, and there are no NATO forces here, as far as we know. They started moving them in, so hopefully they have enough forces here to protect Vilnius. But if Belarus and Russia come crashing through the border with thousands and thousands of troops, NATO is not prepared for that because the closest brigade is in Kaunas. That's the main NATO base in Lithuania, and I don't know how many troops they even have there. I know they have some tanks and artillery, but is it enough? We don't know. Okay. Also, NATO does have some very high value assets in Poland, specifically at the Powice air base close to Poznań in northwest Poland, and then also in Malbork. Those are the 2 big NATO bases, NATO air bases in Poland, where they have F-35s, and also at one point F-22s were in Powice, and even a B-2 landed at Powice for the first time ever. Okay, so for all we know, those F-22s could still be there. The F-35s are definitely still there. So they would definitely respond if something were to happen. But is it enough? We don't know what kind of preparations they're making. And NATO stands in solidarity with member country Estonia following a border incident with Russia on the Narva River separating the two nations. Alliance Chief Jens Stoltenberg said today, NATO stands in solidarity with our ally Estonia against any threat to their sovereignty, Stoltenberg said on the social media platform Twitter after speaking with Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas. Okay, and so interestingly, we send two B-52s literally the day after this incident. Okay, and Putin is in Belarus right now. Okay, we also have some major breaking news coming out of Russia. Multiple Ukrainian drones successfully hit a long range early warning radar system in the Krasnodar region of Russia. The radar has a reported range of 6,000 kilometers with the ability to track up to 500 targets simultaneously. And what you're looking at is a picture of this long range radar that the Ukrainians hit. You can see this huge hole in the side of it. Okay. Actually, multiple holes here. This looks like a phased array radar potentially, but this is part of Russia's nuclear warning system, nuclear war radar system. And potentially this could be grounds for Russia to use tactical nuclear weapons on Ukraine. This is the second major radar system that Ukraine has destroyed. They destroyed one about a month ago, and that was a critical radar system for Russia's early warning radars. And according to Russia's nuclear war doctrine, if there's any attack on the early warning system of the Russian Federation, that could be grounds to use nuclear weapons. Okay, we know that Russia has placed their tactical nuclear weapons on full combat alert, disguising that as drills with Belarus, but they've already loaded nuclear tipped Iskander missiles onto launchers in southern Russia, and Belarus has done the same thing. So it's very possible that Russia could use tactical nukes on Ukraine very soon, or potentially on European countries. Okay. And 62 Chinese military aircraft were detected around Taiwan for the Chinese military drills. That is just absolutely insane. Poland is going to buy 4 giant reconnaissance blimps from an American defense contractor for $1 billion from Raytheon. The blimps that will hover along their border with Russia and Belarus 24/7 will act as an airborne ISR and AWACS platform. Okay, so massive intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance blimps being purchased by Poland so they can float along the border of Russia and Belarus 24/7. I mean, these blimps can literally stay up there constantly versus these reconnaissance planes. You have to maintain them, you have to fuel them, you need pilots in them. With these blimps, they can just float around and just collect information about whatever. Okay, so this is an ingenious idea by Poland. And Secretary of State Antony Blinken is pushing the White House to allow Ukrainian forces to hit Russian missile and artillery launch sites in the Russian territory using U.S. supplied weapons. This comes after Blinken was grilled on Capitol Hill by lawmakers over the Biden administration's policy of not allowing Ukraine to strike into Russian territory, particularly in the Kharkiv region where Russia has amassed a large amount of troops the past few months, and Ukraine could not do anything but watch due to Biden's policy. Okay, so this is huge news, guys. We've heard a lot of unconfirmed reports that the U.S. has allowed Ukraine to strike Russian territory with their weapons. Then we had some backtracking going on by Lloyd Austin. We have Michael McCall, the Republican congressman from Texas, grilling Blinken the other day, telling Blinken that basically Ukraine cannot defend itself with this restriction in place. because it's like fighting with two hands tied behind your back. Okay, someone punches you and you can't punch back. You just try to run away or move your head around so you don't get hit. And that's basically what Ukraine is doing, because Russia has parked hundreds and hundreds of artillery systems right on the border of Ukraine, and they're shelling the crap out of Kharkiv, out of civilian areas, turning them into dust, while Ukraine is not allowed to destroy those artillery pieces from Ukrainian territory with American ATACMS missiles. Okay, so that's the only way that Ukraine is going to be able to turn the tides, is if the U.S. allows them to strike just those artillery pieces that are attacking civilian areas. And Ukraine struck Crimea again last night with ATACMS. They hit a target in the town of Alushta. The damage is yet to be determined. And Russia has introduced a new registration code for cars in the Kharkiv region. And apparently, this new registration code is 188. And what you're looking at here is just an example of a car registration from Russia. It says 78, but they're going to have a code of 188 for Kharkiv. So this is a huge sign that Russia is planning to take over Kharkiv, the entire city, if they're already issuing new registration codes for cars. Okay, so very serious, guys. And the Russian army continues its assault on the critical city of Vovchansk in northern Kharkiv. Apparently, they have advanced more. They are now in control of the developments on the outskirts of the city up to the Korolenka Street. So this is very, very concerning. And the first group of Ukrainian pilots have completed F-16 training at a military base in Arizona. They are now going to head to Europe to finish their training there. And the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier of the U.S. Navy has now entered the Philippine Sea. Here's a picture of one of those blimps that Poland is going to deploy on their border with Russia and Belarus. These are going to be made by Raytheon, $1 billion for 4 of them. So very interesting. And here's a picture of Narva in Estonia. And so this is the border of Estonia and Russia. And Russia normally has buoys in the middle of the river to mark the border, and Russia recently removed those buoys. Okay, so that is a huge sign that Russia is about to attack Narva. Here's the location of the Ukrainian drone strike earlier today in Alushta. And we also have some breaking news coming out of the Middle East. Yesterday, military recruitment in Turkey was updated by Erdogan. Apparently, Turkey is now becoming a country ready for war. So you can see this note here that was issued May the 22nd, signed by Erdogan, the president of Turkey. It says, the mobilization and state of war regulation put into effect by the decision of the Council of Ministers dated 5/24/1990 will be abolished, and the attached mobilization and state of war regulation will be put into effect. Okay, so he's replacing an old regulation with a new one, but it looks like Turkey is going to be in a state of war now officially. And 3 U.S. soldiers suffered non-combat injuries during the Gaza humanitarian pier operation, according to a U.S. admiral. And the B-21 Raider, that's the new stealth bomber, continues to conduct flight tests at Edwards Air Force Base. And the U.S. military released some pictures of the testing. The Kremlin has warned that they will strike British targets inside of Britain if British weapons strike Russian soil. And here's a picture of the B-21 Raider in California. Look at that thing. This thing is supposed to be piloted by AI. Okay, that is just absolutely insane. Literally a real-life Terminator scenario. Okay, so that's the latest breaking news that I have. I may be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I'm going to be spending time with family this weekend, so I don't know how many updates I'll be able to put out. I'll try my best to put out at least one update per day. If I have time, I'll try to put out two, but I'm going to try for at least one through Monday per day. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also consider following me on Twitter and Telegram. I post all my updates there. So if you follow me there, you'll never miss an update. And I will be posting some firearms and outdoors and truck content this weekend. So if you guys are interested in that, I will be posting a lot of that stuff, but I'll try for at least one update per day, maybe more, depending on how much time I have. So if you guys are going to be traveling for Memorial Day, make sure you travel safely, drive slow, watch out for deer, be mindful of weather, and also carry your self-defense tools where legal. Be aware of your surroundings. It is a holiday weekend, and holiday weekends are always a big target for terrorism. So I may see you guys later, and until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.